In a moment, in the wink of an eye, in a moment, as the world passes by, you can see a smile as it breaks, and the magic that it makes. In a moment, just a casual glance changes slowly to the maddest romance, a new life, a new attitude, in a moment's interlude.
Wise Guys Cooking is brought to you by Everson Spice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Frankie.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, smooch me.
We know him as the man who saved numerous relationships. You know him as just another Italian immigrant. Let's have a big hand for our Godfather, Tony DiGiolando.
Yes, Larry, I do have all the answers, but I don't share my wisdom with just anybody. I share my wisdom with people that I love, and the people that watch this show, I love them all.
Well, let's get started then, Godfather. Jimmy Marinara from Skokie writes, Godfather, what's the difference between a wife and a mistress?
Some people might say night and day, but I say Friday nights for the mistress, Saturday nights for the wife. You take the wife out, you buy her a beautiful dinner, you take her home, you make love. Then Sunday morning you roll over, you tap her on the shoulder and say, hey, take the kids to mass.
Sarah Panchetta asks, I've been going steady with this man for more than a year. We see each other every night. He says he loves me. I know I love him. Do you think he's going out with me just for what he can get?
I don't know, Sarah. What's he getting?
Here's a letter from Gina Laforte. Our son married a girl when he was in the service. They were married in February, and she had a 9-pound baby boy in August. She said the baby was premature. Can a 9-pound baby be premature?
Let's put it this way. The baby was early, but the wedding was just in time.
Conchita Scolapasta writes, are birth controls deductible?
Only if they don't work. If they don't work, you're going to get deductions for the next 25 years.
Maria Pantaloni asks, I know boys will be boys, but my boy's 73 years old and he's still chasing women.
Listen, I got an old dog likes to chase cars. If he caught one, he wouldn't know what to do with it. Gabish?
And Godfather, I have a question. I loaned some money to a friend. I'm having trouble collecting it. What should I do?
Tie him to your car and see how fast he can run.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a hand for the Godfather, and we'll be right back after these messages.
When my father used to come home from work, we used to live in Detroit, so it was a basement because he was a contractor, so he had a lot of dirt and stuff in his shoes. So he'd come into the middle and he'd go downstairs to take a shower because he had the basement all fixed up. And then my mother would be at the front, at the top of the stairs with me and my brother both standing there, and she had the report card for the day. So my brother and I always had exit strategy. Run to the front door, you go left, I go right, okay? And whoever is the lucky one is gonna get away. Well, you'll get it later when Don's tired, because he had that belt hanging in the bathroom, man. We used to just sharpen up the thing over there. Oh, man, I'll tell you what, those were the days.
My dad was only 5'5".
Yeah,
My mother was 5 feet.
Yeah, tough.
And so it would be, I mean, if you did something wrong at the dinner table, all of a sudden your shins were bleeding. It's just, you never hit you.
She used to throw the
above
shoe.
here, no, just a foot, right?
My mother used to say she didn't like somebody who was ignorant.
Yeah.
You know? To me, it was always yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I mean, everything. Even today, at my age, I go to the bank. The girl's 25 years old. I'm doing my business with the money, and I say, yes, ma'am. She looks at me. Says, well, that's how I grew up, but it's not that way anymore. It's just different. And, it just, we were all respectful, especially elders.
Mr. and
Yeah,
Mrs., Mr. and Mrs.
Exactly.
Never
You know,
first name people.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, ma'am.
My father,
Sonny, just join in anytime.
no, listen, you're doing good, Sonny.
Everybody in the United States who's Italian is going to have a stuffed artichoke today. That's what I
Great
know.
holiday food for sure. Get your pen and paper ready. 2 carciofi e poi una caviefore. There's an artichoke right there for you. The ingredients are super simple. We got some beautiful artichokes at the mercato. Then we have plain breadcrumbs, EVOO. This is garlic powder, but I'm sure you can find garlic salt. So we're going to add salt, water, Parmigiano, and we're going to chop up the parsley and some garlic and peperonero.
That's right. That's it. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do with these little babies is you're going to take off the bottom leaves that obviously are useless, which are these fellas right here. Now we're going to cut off the stem, but we're going to use the stem. We're going to try to get this as flat as possible, like this. Number one. And the first thing we'll do is we'll prep the stems. We're going to end up cooking these, so we're going to take off the skin, which is kind of tough. It's kind of stringy, but all you want to do is just peel it like you do a piece of fruit or something like that. That's step one.
I love that piece.
Yeah, I know.
It's very tender.
Well, once it's cooked properly.
You got these almost perfectly flat. Let's see if I can get them a little flatter so they can stand up like this.
Yep.
See? In the pan.
So now with these guys here, you got to cut them up into smaller pieces like this. Throw these in the pan right now.
This is the pan we got.
Yep, there's nothing in here right now, but these are the first things to go in. See the front over here? These you want to cut off with a knife. You're going to make the top flat, okay? So scissors, and I just cut them like this.
Because you don't want that pointy part, right?
Right, you want to get it because these leaves are going to hold the breadcrumb mixture that we're going to make up in just a couple of seconds. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is you have to open up the leaves because this is what's going to get filled with our mixture that we're going to work on next. Okay, now I'll give you a hint. My mom used to kind of like, with her palm,
Show me. What did she do?
she used to go press them down a little bit.
You know, the more you open them, the more stuffing you can put in them.
So we'll do this with the other one, and then we'll work on our breadcrumb. Just get them off. Just twirl them around.
I got them.
Open them up nice and wide.
Wait a sec. That's row 1. Row 2.
That's
And
great.
the purple ones over here, they're not very
No, you
tasty.
can leave them right there.
Yeah, not very tasty. The ones you really want to extend are the ones in the outskirts.
Correct.
Your cousin Josephine, the way she made it is she chopped these fine, the garlic, the parsley, and then she put the breadcrumbs and the Parmigiano cheese, and then she stuffed them. But we're just going to throw these in whole into the water.
Yeah. My mom used to just get 4 of those and throw them into the water. Okay, let them diffuse that way.
So sometimes you can use a knife and chop it like this, or This is my
The-
preferred
The
method.
Alfred way.
Is like this.
You don't have to go crazy with the parsley because it's a minor ingredient. It's basically for coloring. Yeah, a little bit more than a cup. The breadcrumbs. Keep on going. 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 Oh.
All right, so now we put salt. I'm not even measuring it. I'm just throwing it in there.
Make sure you put some
let's-
good. There you go.
Ooh, that's a good heat. Now, did you see this? Look at this. It's a little bit thicker. It's not as fine as
Great.
ours.
Pepper
Pepper
next.
next.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a little pepper.
Be generous with the pepper. That's what gives it the
Little bit
flavor.
more?
Right,
Oh.
that's good enough. And now the
no.
2 heaping teaspoons.
Okay.
If you want to put more, you could. No such thing as too much Parmesan cheese.
I'll
just
tell
so
you
know.
what. I'm gonna put more.
And the host, it's got to be well mixed though. I mean, you can't just like throw it in and just do it on. So the whole thing is in the mixing. So you have to be really an apothecary kind of guy.
This artichoke's probably 2-3 inches high, and Al did a perfect job. Look, it stands up perfectly. And now, so that's one way of doing it.
I don't know any other way to do it.
Now, the way I do it, believe it or not, is I take each individual, open them up, and put some in each individually.
Well, you're a woman that is perfection, and I'm not. That's all.
Now, you're getting the work done, though. You're getting the work done. Here.
When you do one of these guys where it's empty, you feel
Here.
cheated, you know?
I know.
So for me, I think we'll go
Well, this
ahead
is a
and-
big one, though. I literally take each piece, generous portion, and then I do the next layer. So this may take a little bit longer than Al's, but I'm going to secure that every single piece is stuffed.
Cool.
That is what you call a stuffed artichoke.
Before we put them in our water, we're going to give them a generous dosing of EVOO, it's a virgin olive oil, because we're going to baste this in any case, but you want the EVOO to get into the leaves, different leaves and stuff like that. Don't be shy.
All right, so about how many times a year do you think your mom would make this? Just for the holidays or always?
Well, in the fall until the eggplants, the artichokes were out of season, but there are 2 ways to make them. Now, the way we're making them is on the stove top, but all the ingredients are the same. The only difference is if you want to make them in the oven, then instead of popping them on the stove top, obviously you're going to put it in the oven, but you have to make sure you baste it with the broth or else it'll be dry. And that's the same thing that we have to do here. It's basically you have to keep on basting it while it's softening up.
All right, the most important question is, did you help your mom while she was making it?
No, she used to kick us kids out of the kitchen.
Perfect. I'm getting ready to kick you out of the kitchen.
Okay, you put that on medium heat. And then just put a little tiny bit of oil before you put the water. All right, now you put the water in. I have a liter and a half of water here. The moisture from the water is going to end up in the artichokes.
This next step is super important to make sure that you can get the artichokes in the pan standing up straight.
Well,
All right,
as
go
straight
ahead.
as possible.
Well, you did a good job cutting them.
You never know.
There's 1, 2.
Buckle my shoe.
Al, that was a perfect
think a little bit
job.
more.
That is probably the most perfect ones I've ever seen.
And then what you want to do is you want to cover them, of course. Now, in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we start the basting process. As soon as the water starts to boil, then you want to put it down to medium, okay? And then you just got to let it, cook. But for right now, you can keep it up there.
Okay, it's now boiling. And I'm going to start basting a little bit using this, my grandmother's ladle. Spread them nice and even. Make sure it goes into all the little nooks and crannies. We're about 45 minutes in, and it's still cooking away. Looks just about done. And these are fork soft, so we're getting there. And if you can, very, very carefully peel off one of the bottom ones. Peeled off nice and easily, that means it's ready to eat. Now that looks pretty darn good. It's cooled down a little bit. You ready to taste, Al?
Yes. And I never eat a whole one, but what I like to do the next day is I'll take one of these guys and I will put some butter on it and put her in the toaster oven for about 2 minutes, and I swear to God, it tastes like a stuffed mushroom made from artichoke. That's the secret. That's what the French do.
Now you know the broth is really, really good for you too, but I'm dying to find out what you think of the first bite.
You know, these things, the key when you're cooking them is they have to be loose. The leaves have to fall off, kind of. You have to, when you push them, there should be no resistance. That means they're done. And you save the broth, and if you put the broth around it, it's delicious. This is my mother's recipe, so what you do is you put your teeth here, and you pull.
At the stem, right? You start with
Right.
the stem. Buono.
That is at least one meal. This is called the heart of the artichoke. It's at the bottom. It's very soft and tender, and it's delicioso. This is what it looks like. Soft. You don't have to put this much breadcrumbs in. I like a lot of breadcrumbs. If you don't like breadcrumbs, use a little bit less. Other people put a little bit of butter in it when it's cooking too. There are different ways to do it, or red pepper flakes. So this was Mom's recipe, kind of like basic, but you can enhance it. For me, in Sicily, 60 cents the artichoke cost. That's to figure it was what, $1 for the breadcrumbs. Cheapo. Anyway, love you, Mom. Peace.
Thank you.
Buongiorno. So my name is Emilio, and my name is Federico. We're the Corsetti brothers. We're originally from Sicily, Palermo, born and raised. Our dad, he always been in this restaurant business. Used to be a very big figure in Sicily, Palermo. He worked in many restaurants, also worked overseas. He worked in London, he worked in Tuscany, he worked also in Rome. So he worked in a lot of places. So I think in our blood, it's already like we have the gene on the DNA to be in the restaurant business. The previous owners of this restaurant, it's Mario Marfia. They own Il Corso in Palm Desert. He started the restaurant career with our father in Sicily back in the 70s. They went to culinary school together, and then they worked together in England and in Tuscany. So due to this friendship, that's why we're here. We started, being in the restaurant business by scrubbing pots and pans, washing dishes. He wanted us always to, he didn't want us to be in the restaurant business because it's very hardworking and sacrificed. So he said it, no matter what, if you guys gotta learn it, you learn it the hard way. Favorite dish to make for me, it's definitely the veal milanese. It's something my grandma used to make when I used to be a kid. And I remember going there on Saturday, Sunday night, and grandma, you would always make this wonderful veal milanese. They were the best, and I think we consider ourselves more restaurateurs, which it's the infusions, the cohesions of both front of the house and dining room, and kitchen. It's we both like to cook, but I think he's the good one. So he has a better taste than me. Always try to keep up what our cultures are, because don't forget where you come from. That's very important.
of an eye. In a moment, as the world passes by, you can see a smile as it breaks, and the magic that it makes. In a moment, just a casual glance changes slowly to the maddest romance, a new life, a new attitude, in a moment's interlude. In a matter of no time at all, you can win with your back to the wall. With a car to the river, your aces, home run on the bases. Desperate and down, in a moment it can all turn around. It's a fact I've known to be true from the moment I saw you.